A Finnish food tech startup says it is making a new nutrient-rich protein from thin air. Helsinki-based Solar Foods says its new protein can lessen the environmental impact of the world's food systems, which accounts for over a third of global greenhouse gas emissions.
At this pilot plant on the outskirts of Helsinki, Finnish food tech startup Solar Foods is making a protein from thin air. Solein, as they call it, is grown in a fermentation tank from a single microbe. The process uses carbon dioxide from the air and hydrogen that is split from water using electricity. A small amount of water, also from air and minerals, are also needed.
We provide growth conditions for the cell through a technology called gas fermentation. You can compare that to wine making or beer making, where you have a liquid that has sugars typically, for example from grapes or similar. And typically, for example, wine making, you add yeast to this sugars liquid, and this yeast eats sugar for carbon and energy to grow and express some alcohol to the surrounding liquid. We do the same, but our microbe does not eat sugar, but it is hydrogen and carbon dioxide that we bubble in as gases in the fermenter. And that's where the very fundamental point is, how to disconnect from agriculture. No agricultural feedstock is used.
According to a study published in Nature Food in March this year, the world's food systems are responsible for more than a third of global greenhouse gas emissions. From land use change and agricultural production to packaging and waste management, annual food system emissions were estimated to be 18 billion tons of carbon dioxide, about 34% of the global total. Solar Foods is making food without these agricultural processes. When the startup's electricity comes from renewable sources, there is almost zero carbon emissions. The pilot plant is currently powered by hydropower, but they are seeking to use a mix of hydro, wind, and solar. The startup was founded in 2017 as a spin-off from Finland's National Research Institute.
What is the problem in the current food system is that about 1/3 of the climate impact due to human action is due to what we eat, and about 80% of that is due to animal production. So we need to remove animal from the food supply system to a large extent. Solely nutritionally similar to meat and meat-like products, dairy products or milk, and that is what we want to replace.
Indeed, the food tech startup says its fermentation process is 20 times more efficient than photosynthesis, which helps grow crops in fields, and 200 times more than meat. And this is the result, a new protein called solein. Like many other protein supplements, it has no strong, discernible taste.
It's very neutral, so it's kind of umami. In some ways, it is a bit like yeast extract. Or I would assume that if we would have like a lactic acid bacteria as a powder, so it would be pretty similar. It is yellow in color, so this color comes from beta-carotene. So this is of course the same color that is in carrots. So I taste a little bit of carrots.
Here in this high-tech kitchen, Solar Food product developers are creating potential dishes for the yellow tinge protein powder. A recent fun experiment saw them create these solein cheesecake puffs, the main ingredient being a solein cheese alternative. Solar Foods was recently selected as one of the winners of a NASA Deep Space Food Challenge. The competition asked innovators to create novel, game-changing food technologies or food systems that require minimal resources.
What we are doing scientifically, what intrigues the mind, is that you can integrate this kind of food production to the life support system of the existing life support system in spaceships.
The food tech startup is now seeking novel food approvals in the European Union and United Kingdom. And just like its microbe, Solar Foods is growing.